Bill O'Brien, good morning.
Morning, guys. Morning, Greg.
I got to tell you something. Ran into somebody who knows you, and they were upset, and I didn't even know. They were upset that we had not congratulated you on this show on accomplishing an athletic feat that I have been unable to do in 8,000 rounds of golf that I've played in my life. Earlier this summer, did you get a hole-in-one?
I did. Now, I would preface all this by telling you that I'm a 20 handicap. I'm not very good.
Yeah,
I love to play golf.
Like Shime. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm not very good. And it was a obviously par 3, 156-yard downhill, and it was one bouncing in. It was a beautiful thing. My son was with me. It was awesome.
Did you buy everybody around afterwards?
Of course.
Okay, all right,
of course.
Good.
Of course.
Bill, that was a tough loss last weekend. You guys fought very hard, but to make it to 2 overtimes and then lose in that fashion, how did the guys handle that? How did you handle that? And how is it moving forward?
Yeah, no, it was tough. It was frustrating. We give Michigan State credit. They made more plays than we did. But, what I did is on Sunday came in, there was 178 plays in the game, right? And I would say that 25 of those plays were what I would call, bad ball. And if we can just really eliminate the majority of those plays, cut that down. It's never going to be perfect, but cut that down. Then we have a real shot to do something. But until we figure that out, until we figure out how not to lose, then we're not going to be able to win. And so we have to figure that out. And these guys have had a really good week of practice, and we're excited for the next opportunity.
Can I ask you, because I was curious, during the second overtime, you got very heated on the sideline at one point. I just want to know what happened there in your mind. Was it a late sub by MSU? Did they used to call you tea kettle, Bill? Is that what it was?
Teapot.
Teapot.
It was 4. Yeah, you call me whatever you want to call me. 4 times in the game. 4 times in the game. They had 12 guys in the huddle with the quarterback in the huddle. And then they would run the 12th guy out of the huddle back to the sideline. That's illegal. So, it happened multiple times. And one time the guy told me he missed it. And then the next time, whatever. So I was just having a friendly conversation. Can we not miss that call again?
I loved it.
Bill, you talked about the ability to get the run game going. Seems like, you struggled there, and you also struggled a little bit defending the run. Talk about the importance of, obviously, where the game is won and lost in the trenches and making sure you take care of business on both sides of the football.
Yeah, we definitely have to improve the running game. Look, we've worked hard on it. I think, we've looked at it very, our coaching staff's really looked at it closely to make some changes relative to how we do it personnel-wise, formationally, and things like that. I think we're on the right track. And then defensively, we were in position to make a lot of plays. We had 15 missed tackles in the game. And so we got to tackle better. So we tackled a lot on Tuesday and Wednesday. And, again, I said that to you guys last week. I think early in the season it comes down to tackling and, taking care of the ball. We definitely have to tackle better. That's something that we worked hard on this week.
Billy, how hard is it to build something when the college program, the manner in which college teams are created these days in football is so different? It seems like year by year, you're going to have an influx of new players at different skill positions. How do you create something that's sustainable given that roster turnover?
Yeah, that's something that personally, I think about every single day. I think it depends on where you're at, right? So we're at Boston College, which, as you guys know, look, this is a special place. This is a place where you can get an incredible degree in the greatest city in the world. This is a place that is a very spiritual place. It'll teach you about how important it is to give back to the community. And so I think you have to wrap your brain around the fact that we're not going to be 70 in and 70 out. We want to develop players. High school recruiting will be the main way that we do it. We have a good process here. We feel like we're on the right track, but eventually we're going to have to do it. And nobody realizes that more than me. I've been doing this a long time, but I like where we're at in recruiting. I think this team that we have right now has a chance to be good if we can eliminate some some of the stuff we've been doing, and we'll be on the right track. But I think we can't be the portal school. That's just not who Boston College is. Who we are is developing players, helping players get better both on and off the field.
Speaking of being on the right track, from your perspective, is Charlie Baker and the NCAA on the right track when it comes to this salary cap that they're talking about?
I really, I have a lot of respect for Charlie Baker. I really do. I know him. I've met him. I've been around him. I think that's a very difficult job, Greg. I think that the way that this is headed right now over the next 4 or 5 years, I just don't. I'm not sure where the NCAA is going to be. I don't have a great history with the NCAA from when I was at Penn State and how they doled out the punishment to Penn State 12 years ago, 13 years ago. So I don't really have a whole lot to say about them. The salary cap and all that, look, if we're trying to go down this road of making this an even playing field, there's a lot that goes into that, right? There's no CBA, there's no, antitrust laws right now that we have to, obey. And so it's kind of a wild, wild west type of situation. And like I said earlier, I think at Boston College, we're on the right track with how we're attacking this from an administrative perspective. And, I think we just got to keep chipping away.
Bill, are you welcome at Gillette Stadium? Because there are some that aren't. There are some that are not, apparently.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not speeding down Route 1 to get to Gillette Stadium these days, but I feel like I'm welcome.
Okay. Are you welcome? Are you welcome in Chapel Hill? I mean, I have a good relationship with Coach Belichick, but I don't think they would be like welcoming me with open arms in Chapel Hill since we're in the same conference.
I know you and Bill Belichick have a good relationship, but as a head coach, what does that do for players if you're not letting certain scouts come and watch your players who are trying to get to the next level?
So I think my philosophy on that is when, and I learned a lot about this again when I went to Penn State. Coach Paterno at Penn State, he didn't have the best relationship with the NFL, and so he was very strict in when he let them in. For me, I think it's important to let them in. I let them in all the time with the exception of the day before the game when we really don't practice. We're just doing a walkthrough. So they can come in all the time because what I think is for us at BC, we have 4 or 5 teams at every single practice because we have some pro prospects on this team. And it helps the energy of practice because these guys, what I tell them is the only thing I require is, hey man, make sure you wear your emblem, right? The Patriots, the Colts, the Bears, whoever's showing up, so that the players see that, hey, the NFL's here. I think it's important for us at BC to let these guys in and show them who we are.
Did you get to watch any of that Patriots game Sunday?
I saw bits and pieces of it. I had it on in the background, but I could not tell you that I, really watched it closely.
Scheim is calling for Josh McDaniel's head. Just that's one game in, by the way.
No, Scheim. No. Well, everybody's got to take it's one game. I mean, it's a long season. Nobody's better than Mike Vrabel at getting guys to improve. I told you guys this. When Mike worked for me in Houston, he started out, he was the linebacker coach. He improved so many of the guys that he coached, Clowney, Merciless, Cushing. Those guys took big jumps in their careers. And so, he's parlayed that philosophy into what he's going to do in New England. It's not going to happen overnight. It's just he's installing his own way of doing things, and but he is big into improvement. And I'm sure they're working very hard this week to be better. I don't know who they play Sunday. They play Miami. Sorry, Miami Sunday. They'll be a better football team.
So, Bill, I tend to agree. I believe Mike can do that. My question, I'm a completely hypothetical question here for you. If you had a very mobile quarterback, would you encourage him to not run so much and try and work primarily from the pocket, or would you take advantage of his excellent mobility?
I think you have to look at who you have, no doubt about it. I mean, I've had a lot of different types of quarterbacks, so I do think it's important to do what you believe fits that guy's skill set, no doubt about it. Now, we're not in the meetings. Maybe they do have some things. Maybe they got behind in the game and they couldn't call those things. I'm sure that they're looking at everything that they do, and Drake is a really good athlete from when I've seen him play. He can definitely run, but also some of the onus is on him, on the players. Like they have to, maybe they got to do a little bit better job of preparation. They have to do a little bit better job of practicing during the week. I think everybody's in it together, and I'm sure Mike's made that clear to the team.
Hey, Billy, a couple quick notes. Mark Daniels had a story that broke over the weekend regarding the final year of Belichick with the Patriots, and I didn't know if you could confirm the information he had. One was that Belichick wanted to keep Patricia as the offensive coordinator, and Robert Kraft said no, hiring you, and the other was that Belichick didn't talk to Mac Jones or Jerod Mayo that season. Can you confirm or deny those reports?
Well, all I can tell you is I was hired by Bill. I mean, Bill called me. I was at Alabama. We had just won the Sugar Bowl. I was, contacted by Bill. I talked to Coach Saban, and I went back to New England. And we had at least 2 staff meetings per day, every single day. And, Jerod was in those staff meetings, and Bill was talking to him. And so I don't know where Mike Daniels gets that information. I was there. I mean, it was a brutal year. Don't get me wrong. It was terrible. It was terrible, but there was, we had quarterback meeting. He was in quarterback meetings. I mean, that year, Curtis, we had some health issues on the staff and stuff. So Bill and myself, Bill would help coach the offensive line. I was coaching the skill guys with the skill coaches. It was a tough year, man. But there was no ignoring of anybody. Bill coached his ass off from July all the way through to the last game.
After Bill called, was the second interview with Jordan?
I love how you always throw these things in there. I don't know. I did not interview with her at all.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, listen. Great to talk to you.
Good luck.
And, last thing from me, we were just talking about it. It's September 11th. Where were you 24 years ago this morning?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. I'm about to talk to the team about this at 8 o'clock. I was coaching at Georgia Tech, and I had one really close friend, Ray Rocha from Melrose, Mass, played football with me at Brown, who worked for Cantor Fitzgerald. And he was right there with the impact of the plane, and it's a horrible day. I can remember the city of Atlanta was shut down. You remember all major cities were shut down, no flights. I remember my wife Colleen she's a lawyer. She was working for a law firm in Atlanta. They evacuated. I mean, it was a horrible, horrible day, and lost a close friend in Ray Rocha, and it's a tough day every time this anniversary comes up.
Yeah. All right, Bill O'Brien, thank you so much for taking the time. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. That is the great Bill O'Brien.
The best
Good stuff.
Head coach of Boston College football.